We're under the old 1486. Yesterday, one of the many problems I had was not really seeming to be able to use my spool valves. And it's actually a pretty simple arrangement here, where I'm going to have to show you. So this one here is a ball swivel, or a tie rod end. So every time I push and pull on the lever, it's going to do this. Flip flop up and down, so it'll have a big dead spot in it. This one back here, it's gonna be doing the same kind of thing, so that's why it's all gimpy and my levers are maxing out. So I don't see why this end here needs a swivel. So we're either gonna make a new one with a bolt head here, or we're just gonna weld these things solid. And then we'll have a nice fixtured part where we won't have all the floppy stuff going on. So they'll either get creative or downright hillbilly. Now I'll take a closer look at it. That's just what it is, a pair of swivels. But what we're going to do is just going to weld one of these ends straight. Same with this guy here. This could be a threaded bolt, but it's basically a swivel like this guy here with a bolt in this end. So I don't really see a need to improve on this other than to weld just one of these ends straight. So there it is. Very inconvenient, hillbilly, but just right. So get these wire wheeled and cleaned and see how much slack we can take up. Alright, now I'll show you what I done. So first of all, we've never had an 86 series on the farm. I ran one from my neighbor Robbie for a day, I guess. Not long. I've always noticed these stupid little tab thingies. And I'm like, I guess I just hate your shins. They actually fold down, and then it keeps you from hitting float. So that's pretty cool. So float lock, and then this one captures your lever. You can't move it at all. So I guess if you want to put your coat here and sit on it. Alright, so I got dedents in both directions, but I do have a little extra play up here. So that's going to be neutral. That'll be extend, and then that'll be float. Neutral, raise, lower, float. Raise, neutral, lower. Doesn't quite hit float. So being as this stuff is so super duper finicky, there is no forgiveness in the linkage. There's no room for slack. So basically, I have to go down and show you. I got the die grinder. I guess I'll just lengthen this slot just a hair, 1/4 of an inch maybe. Then we'll go from there. I'll go under and show you. Oh, look, I'm a smart feller. I brought my anti-fatigue mat out here, but somehow there's still knee-crushing stones. Well, this isn't not a bad way to work. It's actually pretty soft. But I'm gonna have to contort my body in here. Not a lot of room. It's just enough. It's not terrible, actually. So there's the linkage. And it's pretty straightforward. This set of arms here, these are still frozen. And it had those turnbuckle things. So I've just added some washers on the back or the front of the bolts to align it with the spool valve. And then I've got one lock washer under the nylon lock nut there to keep the whole thing in tension in case the nut does want to work loose. I wanted to use 2 bars or 2 straps as per usual. Oftentimes you'll see these things with a long chain link that's as both sides supported. However, the back bolt is 3/8, the front bolt 5/16, so it's a massive overkill for a chain link, and a chain link that size is going to be starting to interfere width-wise. I mean, you could obviously space it with washers, but this design here, what's nice about it, it supports the arms. I want to say laterally. Keeps the arms from these guys up here. It keeps these guys from twisting. So the washers and the bars hold everything in alignment so that your force is transferred down and then forward without a bunch of flexing. So those limp little ball joint thingies were just flopping all over the place. And I think the reason that it couldn't pick up my speed disc, just barely, is because I didn't have enough throw in the lever. So, and should be generally with hydraulic spool valves like this, there should be a cap on this end of the block. You can pop this guy out and go in there with your screwdriver and tighten or loosen the spring detent pretension. This cap looks a lot similar to the 66. Oh, that one's missing. So anytime these spool valves wear out in the spool valve bore, they'll leak oil from back here. So that's more than likely why these are wet. Kind of trace the wetness down to whatever the low point is. Somewhere on these lines. This tractor has 9,000 hours on it. On a mechanical tack, and they would only be accurate at 1,750 RPMs, I believe. So at full throttle, they'll go a bit faster. At lower speeds, they'll really fall behind. These are the brake sensors, and the wires are ripped off. I don't know where they're at. So we got to work on these arms next. Give them a bunch of PB blaster and see if they come loose. So this is the brake wear switch, indicator switch. One of the really cool features on these tractors, they're, you know, as they go through the series, or one series to the next, they become a little bit more complicated. Man, it is hard to film in here. This big long arm here is the transmission brake. A good example of a transmission brake is semi-trucks have them. But 2-cylinder John Deere's, oh, my knees, so much pain. The 2-cylinder John, this hat was clean this morning. The 2-cylinder John Deere's had tranny brakes on the outside. There's a little brake lever arm that pushes down on the flywheel, I believe. And it just helps stop the transmission rotation. So when you throw the clutch or disengage the clutch, it'll slow the transmission gears down, making it easy to shift to the next gear. So generally on these tractors, one of the old greats around here, Will Zimmerman, who's passed away, used to say the only way to shift in International is to slam on the brakes. And the reason would be the transmission brake. It'll stop the gears, and thereby it takes a second or two to stop the gears, but in between all of that fiasco, you're trying to shift gears and some things are rotating and others are not. Of course, when the tractor's moving, the rear wheels drive the speed gear train, so part of the gear train's spinning, and then the front section here from the drive clutch back stops, and everything is in a massive mismatch. So one of the things to do with these tractors is learn how to float through the gears, or if you can't shift smoothly, just stop the shift. These tractors don't go that fast. If you're hauling an appropriately sized load that's not trying to kill you, then should be fine starting off in 7th or 8th gear. and doing your road speed that way, eliminating the need to shift gears. Alright, there's the hardware. I think I'm happy with that outcome. So one thing with the ball swivels is, with the bolt type, the swivel is stationary and all the wear happens on the ball joint. So what I've done is made the wear happen on the lever and on the spool valve, which is not good. I did this little welding finagle. It still didn't hold everything in alignment. So unless there's some way to hold everything in alignment, then what I've done is the only way, unfortunately. Alright, thanks for watching. That's our struggle of the day.